Here we go. Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I'm Leslie Flowers. Welcome. This is the second to last Mind Over Matter Monday for 2025. So come on in. I've got a song for you as you come in, your tea, your coffee, your water, whatever it is. Sit back. Today we've got a wonderful show for you. Hey, Jay. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. Oh, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. Hi, Adrian. Hi, Leanna and Jay and John and Susan and Kimberly and Philip. Welcome in. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the tree tops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. Oh, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. And may all your Christmases be white. Good morning, everyone. I am thrilled to be here. What a show we have. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, Meryl. So good to see you calling in from New Jersey. I'm going to flip these on. I'm very excited today because we have a wonderful guest. This is Coach Lee Hopkins. You may have noticed him on LinkedIn before. Most everybody knows Coach Lee. I'm really excited about his topic today. We can't know enough about protecting our peace and honoring our values. So let me say hello to everybody, as I have done. And Christy Williams is here. If you look right here, you can see everybody's notes to us. And we have 𝙈𝙤𝙕. Hi, 𝙈𝙤𝙕. 𝙈𝙤𝙕 Haji is calling in from Toronto, Canada. And 𝙈𝙤𝙕 has been a big supporter of Mind Over Matter Mondays over the last couple of years. He is who I call my 21st century Rumi. It's very selfish of me, but I love what he posts. His phrases, it really makes me think and makes me feel peaceful when I read 𝙈𝙤𝙕's posts. And he does beautiful work. Also, Linda Meyer is here. Hi, Linda. Linda was our guest, or our special member or attendee last week. And Linda is a certified coach with a specialty in narcissism. She puts out a wonderful newsletter. So if you're interested in how to recognize narcissistic behaviors, or even if you know someone in your family that you think might be, at least you, with clarity, you can take some action. For me personally, I didn't understand it, so I didn't know what to do other than just keep repeating the behavior. Well, you know what Einstein says about that, right? If you keep doing the same thing with the same information, it's a little nutso. He didn't say it quite like that. And Leanna Stock is here. Hi, Leanna. Leanna is in Duluth, Minnesota, a big supporter here. And Leanna, her specialty is diabetes and many things around that. You can see this on her profile. But she also lives in a place in Duluth where she has a most picturesque view. And I love the pictures she posts, because when we're working, it's nice to have music every so often and beautiful pictures. And so thank you for doing that. We have Jay Pasqua, who is a storyteller. Oops, that's what you get for not turning off your phone, right? Okay. Thank you. Jay is a recent best-selling author. He's a well-known storyteller. Thank you, Jay, for being here. I appreciate you. John Warner is here. Hi, John. He's a new friend from Chicago. I'll be looking forward to the day when you put a picture in that little circle so I can relate to you just a tiny bit better. Here's our beautiful friend, Susan Walsh, who has been a guest speaker here. I'm so glad, or guest teacher. Thank you, Susan. We've been friends for years and years. And she's coming back in January with some very interesting things that I don't know much about. And I'm excited about her topic. In fact, if you're on her mailing list, you received something from her about this topic, but we'll keep it a secret. Kimberly Lechnick is here, and she's all about gratitude. Boy, that's the attitude, isn't it? And she's in Chicago, and she's been a guest speaker here too. Philip Ailes is here, and he's calling in from Jacksonville, Florida. Philip works with veterans, and he's a former veteran and a coach and a very lovely, kind person that you want to get to know. Thank you for being here, Philip. And you'll notice Christy D. Williams is here. She's a customer service professional. And this is a great time to tell you that it's how you support consistently on LinkedIn the people that you follow. But it doesn't mean you have to do everything. So Christy and my good friend Adrian, who is from up north, they both repost. Now, they do other things, but their thing is reposting events that they think will be of value. And it reminded me of yesterday was my birthday, and I almost had forgotten about the tab that says, right, keep up with people. And so there were so many people that I hadn't heard from that I'm connected with, but they show up every year to wish me a happy birthday. So whatever it is you decide to do in support, if you do one small thing every other day, you'll be making a difference. So thank you, Adrian, for being here, and my friend Christy. She and I are also in the 2350 Network, which is a personal development platform off LinkedIn. It's the only one I belong to, and it does beautiful work. And they have a live show on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. here on LinkedIn. And let's see, I see Jay Trivedi is here. Feliz cumpleaños. Jay, thank you for being here. I'm not sure we're first connections, so let's do that. Oh, Leslie Flowers deserves flowers. I love it. Oh, you're in Dubai. So that's Roland is here from Dubai. This isn't the last time. I'll be here next Monday too. And Sean Michael will be our guest teacher. He will be our final teacher. And then we'll roll right in. I'm thinking about changing the time on Monday and Friday from 10 to 11. But I'll make sure you know and understand that when you say you'll attend one of my events, when you see it and say attend, or I invite you, know that I'm inviting you because you've said you would attend in the past. I do know that you can't always be here. So the given here is that you're here to support. You find good value, but you will make it if you can for as much or all as you can. So those are kind of the ground rules. And we have a really nice group. All of you are fabulous for coming in almost every week. And thank you, John. Yes, it was a great birthday. Thank you. Jason Forehand is here too. Jason is one of the, has a beautiful nonprofit called TK Kitchen, and helping children develop and learn how to cook as perhaps a potential way to work in society. And it's wonderful, the work he's doing. In fact, in the spring, there'll be a cookbook, a TK Kitchen cookbook. So I don't think it's too late to send in your recipe for this nonprofit. So thank you for being here, Jason, and for doing that. I've got a hello LinkedIn, and I'm not sure who it is. It may be Jen Lynn. All right. My favorite birthday cake flavor. Well, I didn't get a birthday. I didn't get cake this time because I'm watching my calories. What is my favorite birthday cake? Well, my favorite cake has got to be some sort of chocolate, just because I love chocolate. All right, everybody. I think we're in good shape here. So what I would like to do, and as you come in, I will acknowledge you. Please connect with everybody. You can invite people to come in. And 𝙊𝙪𝙧 𝙈𝙪𝙧 is here. Nicole is the owner of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House, and she will actually be doing for Chasen's nonprofit that cookbook as a gift for the nonprofit. And I am fortunate enough to work with Nicole when she needs a gold standard line editor. She does a lot of anthologies, but when those solo books come in, very often a line editor is required. And so I can help. That's been my background for some time. And Sandra Bolte is here. Sandra's been a teacher. She's a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, a hypnotherapist, and an international best-selling author. Sandra, thank you for always being here. I'm so thrilled to have you here. Yeah, chocolate is the best. And Deb Haas is here. And Deb, I've mentioned this before, but there's about 4 people, and let us know, that have done Landmark Education's transformational work. And we're going to get together and do a panel in Q1, right, with the people that are familiar with the terminology and the distinctions. You'll love it because it's all about transformation, and we have our own language. Sometimes it ekes out into other conversations, doesn't it, Deb? It really does. So yes, so now one last thing before I bring up our esteemed guest, Lee Hopkins. Wonderful, wonderful coach, sharp, smart, works with people that are not middle of the road. Oh, he'll work with middle of the road kind of average people, but he has specialties. So let's do this. All right, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Now, each week, for most of this quarter, I have acknowledged someone who has just been extra special in supporting Mind Over Matter Mondays, and all of us, really. And so this week, the award goes to Tracy Chow. She usually comes in a little bit late. And Tracy is an amazing person. A lot of what she does has to do with audio and technology, but she supports people all over the world, and she does the Business Press Room once a month live on LinkedIn, and every Wednesday at 1, she does The Voice of Business. A big supporter and really versatile in her understanding of many different businesses. She's been a constant support. So thank you, Tracy. I'm so excited that you're here, that this was your turn. And so I'm going to remove this right now, and I'm going to bring up our wonderful guest. Everybody meet Coach Lee Hopkins. I'm so glad you're here, Lee. Hey.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to just tell you a little bit about Lee, so you kind of get an idea. But you're going to see things about Lee that the idea is that you know him distinct from LinkedIn, because he's an amazing human being that does all sorts of really surprising, interesting things. But basically, his work is to help analytical minds, who struggle when connections seem confusing or unpredictable. I love that. Maybe you'll talk about that in a little bit. And clients that work with Lee have learned how to set boundaries, ask for support, because that's another thing, not only to set a boundary, but ask for help, for contribution. And the results of his clients are that they're walking into one-on-ones, right, feeling clear and grounded and connected. And now I could read you what's on his LinkedIn profile, but I won't do that. But the things that matter to Lee, they tend to be practical and quietly meaningful. And I wanted to ask him this. Lee, you enjoy board games and puzzles, so I'm going to ask you a question about that later. Okay.
I'm excited about that.
Maybe I should ask you right now. So when you're playing board games and you're playing with your friends, okay, what is your favorite game to play? Your go-to game?
My favorite game is probably Werewolf, and this is a game where it's about social deduction. So everybody picks a role, but it's a quiet choice. Like no one really knows who that person is. You have to guess based on what they say, and there's really no script. You just kind of go with what's on the card that you have, and
Yeah.
we have to try to figure you out. And so I like that. It turns out that people can really act a whole lot, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
So,
fun.
okay, so that's with your friends. But what I want to know is, would you play that same game with your family, or do you have a different one?
A werewolf? Absolutely not. I would not.
Okay.
I would not. We're a little too like competitive, and I don't think it will work out well with that. Um, we didn't play board games when I was growing up. Well, we played spades, so card games instead. And that is a game I'd play any day, anytime. It's just so much fun to be on the team and to talk a little bit of smack and
Yeah.
just have a good time. Yeah.
I love that. Oh, that's fantastic. So everybody, are you all set? Let me just make sure. There's Dr. Donna Smith-Bellinger.
Oh, what's going on,
Wait,
Dr.
hang on.
Donna
Let me
Smith?
just do this. I can bring up her comment by doing this. So you know this person,
Oh,
Dr. Donna? Tell us, say hello to her.
Dr. Donna is the doctor of all doctors. I mean, she's the doctor of sales. She is really amazing in the work that she does. She comes to the CEO's networking, which is one of my events, and she did a presentation that just blew everybody away. I've got lots of private comments about the presentation that she did. Oh my God, she's so great. She's fantastic. She's an award-winning speaker. I know this. I love her. She lives not far from me. But man, everybody should. If you are
Okay.
not connected with Dr. Donna Smith-Bellinger, you must. I
Okay.
insist that you do. She's absolutely amazing. Thanks for the support coming out here.
Yes, yes. I'm really thrilled to have you here. And I want to say hello to Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Wendy does beautiful pictures also on LinkedIn. They're amazing. So between Ashiv and Leanna and Wendy, and there are other people too, that bring into our feeds the softer side, the artist side, which I love. I need that. Okay, so let's bring up, okay, I need to go here.
Someone says
All right.
their favorite is
So
Wheel of
I want
Fortune.
what dear?
Oh,
What did you say?
someone Jay said my favorite has to be Wheel of Fortune. Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. It's a fun game to play.
Oh, cool. I love that too. My kids and grandkids have taught me games that I didn't even know about, right? Newer ones. My kids are Gen X's. So yeah, that's awesome. Now let me bring this up. One more thing about you before we get into everything. Yeah. So Lee, what are we looking at here? Tell us what we're looking at. I'm going to turn this off for just a minute. So I asked Lee, and I always ask our guest teachers to send me a couple of pictures that people wouldn't know about you. So tell us what we're looking at before we get into your teaching points.
Well, you're looking at the plant dance over there on the left. So that's where they try and they take over my apartment, and I pretend that, I'm with it. But honestly, I have a lot of plants in my apartment because I struggled to grow plants so many years ago. I struggled, and I feel like they're a real great source of life. So golden pothos are plants that I have all over the place. And in this particular instance, I'd for just kind of spent a few months ignoring them, not trimming them. So this is one night I decided I'm gonna trim them and I'm gonna repopulate. So they're just gonna keep spreading and spreading. But this is something that I really love to do because it just brings more life to my apartment.
So
And
Kimberly asks you, is that a pothos?
yes, Kimberly
Okay.
knows her plants. Kimberly knows her plants. Yes, that is golden pothos that I have. So I only have one type of plant too because they're super easy. They're resilient. So
Yeah, they look
uh,
pretty, and yeah, and
they're really healthy.
their last life is a dance with them, and then you're gonna right?
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be reborn into
There
little
you go.
ones that I'll put over other
Right,
places in my apartment.
right, right. So I want to know who this is.
Okay, so
Okay,
that
because
oh,
do you know who this is? I can't see the picture. Can you see who it is?
I can't see who it is, but
Right.
welcome, LinkedIn user.
Yes, let us know who you are. Put your name in the comment if you're not showing up. And this person talks about patient advocacy and new treatments for Parkinson's.
Oh,
Ooh, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, what about on the right? Who's that over there on the right?
so this is the guy who went out to play some board games and the video games. So there was an event here in Chicago. I went out to check this out, and it was really, really awesome. I learned to play a couple new games, and they're all kind of games that um, are about collaboration. Those are my favorite kinds of games. So I met new people, learned how they think, because that's just so much fun for me. Learn how they think, and then work with them to solve a problem.
Oh, that's fabulous. Okay. Now, as we move forward, as we go through, because we're going to get into now the crux of what we're talking about today. Yes, I'm a cribbage person, Jason. I love cribbage. My dad taught us when we were kids, and we are ruthless and cribbage. Ruthless. Okay, 15, 2, 4, 6, a pair is 8, a double run is 12, plus a double run would be 16, etc. Oh, Roland.
Sounds like
Okay, okay, Roland, that's right, in Dubai. Forgive me. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Please forgive me. Okay, is the slide should now be on establishing bound. Is everybody, are we good, Dr. Donna Smith? Okay, I hope it's changed now. She says the slide didn't change. All right, so let me see if I can just do something right here that will give us a better. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Roland. And I do apologize for that. You're not the only one who comes in like that, but you're my favorite. So what can I tell you? So today what we're going to do, we're doing really well on time here. And the plan is that what you're looking at is the content that is specific to Lee's focus. And he has patterns of possibility, which is his overall theme. And you can see he want to turn the boundaries that we set into habits. And it's really about how do you say no and protect your own peace. So he's going to distinguish boundaries versus rules. He's going to tell you how he approaches setting boundaries with his clients. He's going to tell you, share with you, and we'll talk a little bit about how you identify which boundary to do first. Or maybe you only have one, but you may have more than one. But this is how you would figure out what are the symptoms, if you will, of lack of boundaries, right? And then how it becomes a habit. And then I want him to share about how boundaries are an integral part of patterns of possibility. So, Coach Lee, take it away, and I'll interrupt with some questions and asking you some things. So let's go ahead and briefly begin distinguishing boundaries and rules. Take it away, my friend, please.
All right. So boundaries are something that I didn't learn probably until my late 20s. I've heard the word, I've heard what it meant, but I didn't really know how to put it into practice. I
Mhm.
always thought that boundaries were about saying no, just simply just
Mm,
say no.
mm,
And
mm.
how they showed up in my life was that I'll tell you this really quick story. I went on a date with someone, and I was going on so many dates, and then I was like, I'm probably paying for too much because I would just pay for the entire meal. I thought that's just what I was supposed to do. But here I am taking people to the Cheesecake Factory. And this is maybe 20 years ago, just taking people out and spending all my money like I had it like that. And then I was like, I'm not getting anything out of this. We're not having great conversation. I'm not connecting with people. The next date, I'm just going to see if we can go Dutch. Yeah. So I mentioned that to them, and they were like, No. Mm-mm. If you're not going to pay for it all, you're not going to date with me. No. And I was like, but I'm trying to save some money. I'm trying to save some money. Okay, I get it. That looks kind of lame, but I'm trying to save some money. I'm trying to tell him like, no. So she says, well, well, I guess if I pay like half. No, she's none of that. So I decided that I would take her to a place that is not super expensive, fast casual kind of place, like a Chipotle. Great. Pick them up, take them to the restaurant, and they said, you know what? I'm going to get the most expensive thing on the menu. And I was like, girl, no way, because I just told you that I'm not going to pay. I don't want to pay a whole lot of money. And then sure enough, I get to the restaurant, look at the menu. She gets the most expensive thing on the menu. And I was like, I got really upset. At this point, this is where my boundary kicked in. And it exploded essentially. And I was like, no, you're not getting that. I told the waitress, she's not getting that. And I was just like, man, I did that. I was upset. And then I don't remember if we ate or what, because that would have been really awkward. Maybe I just took her home. But then after that, I thought, wow, if I just had let them get their way, I could have been in a good relationship. No, that's wrong. Now, I know that at a 40-something now that's just not the way it works. But when we set these boundaries and rules, it's not about saying no. Boundary is not just saying no. It's not. At the point in time where I had set that boundary, I was up to here. I was way over my threshold of tolerance. That's not just saying no. So boundaries, what they do as far as setting rules. I tried to set rules. I tried to say, you can't have this. You can't do this. Boundaries are about my actions. What am I going to do in any given situation? Rules are standards or ideas for their actions. I'm trying to control their actions. And that's the biggest difference. I tried to set a bunch of rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it didn't work.
So that was the distinction. Now, those setting rules, you could do it as agreements where we could agree to split or not split the meal. Yeah. We could agree in advance. I mean, once you dated the first time, frankly, these you could set the rules after you got to know them. But clearly this date that you had, she kind of reminds me of my daughter and granddaughter, who always go for the most expensive thing on the I mean, I even got a call once when one of my friends, when my daughter was maybe 12 or 13, her best friend and family took her out, went out for dinner and took my daughter. And so afterwards, the mother called. She said, Leslie, I just want you to know that your daughter ordered the most expensive thing.
The most expensive thing.
Right. And I said, oh, thank you for telling me. And then my husband and I had a talk with our daughter. Let's not do that. Right. So that's go ahead.
So I'd like to just jump in here. My boundaries were that I wasn't going to pay for something expensive.
You had a budget. Yeah,
I had a budget because I had already been doing it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to just slow down with that. And they were supposed to guide my actions. They were supposed to stop me from doing the thing I didn't want to do. And then I tried to set, instead of that, because I just couldn't not do the thing I wanted to do, didn't want to do. Like I still went along with it. I still agreed to what they had said. Then I tried to set rules. You can't do this. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't work because we're adults. You're not my mama. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm not a kid. Absolutely. I'm not going to get in trouble. You can't control people that way. And that's the thing. It's about this difference and distinction with the boundaries and rules. It's like, only thing I can do is control myself. And if I can't control myself, I'm still going along because I'm afraid you're not going to like me. Then that's something I need to deal with.
That's right. That's
Mm,
absolutely right. And let me welcome our sponsor, Stanley Green, from Power Thinking Corp, who is the president and CEO. And thank you, Stanley, for sponsoring this show. Aaron Gibson, who is here from Calgary, Canada, Alberta, Canada. I think it's Alberta. Yeah. And he created the beautiful intro that you saw, an outro. So if you ever want one for your
yeah.
show, you can. And thanks for being here, Aaron and Stanley. And Napoli is here. Aaron says, I prefer guidelines as opposed to rules.
Mm,
So, this is about the labels we use and will they trigger other people? So, what I really like about what Aaron said here, let me just show you real quick
mm,
because I don't want him to be in front of you. Guidelines are objective, right? You can agree on that. It's almost like an agreement.
right.
Rules are you should do.
Yeah.
And should means when you tell me I should do something, oh, so I should not do things according to my own value, standards, ideals, but I should adopt yours.
Yeah.
That's what
And
you're asking me to do is to give
yeah.
up my right. Isn't that right?
Yeah. In a sense, it's like they want you to abandon yourself and what's in your best interest. Just no, if you should, I don't think so. I don't know if I like that.
Oh, Nicole says, you're not my mama.
You know?
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's go on now. Okay, because now we're doing great. So everybody gets that the boundaries is really honoring your own values and your own peace, which is
Mhm.
how to say no, right? And rules are, for me, I would say agreements, right? Let's agree on the rules of the meeting, right? When I do a mastermind, we all agree that if you want to leave, you can. That if you're going to be late, so this is a way to establish this in advance. If you're going to be late, you call,
Right.
right? And if you're not coming, you have to let us know, and it has to be for an emergency. In other words, this is high value. It should be
Right.
number one on your calendar, and we all agree to that. So
Right.
it works. It works if everybody's in agreement.
Yeah. If everyone's in agreement, if it doesn't, if you're not in agreement with it, it's gonna feel like an imposition.
That's right. And it builds resentment, which we'll talk
Resentment.
about in just a few minutes. And Aaron adds also hard and soft boundaries, respect and recognition. Yes,
Mm,
that's exactly what it yields. And everybody needs to be respected. So I did a poll today and I said, which of these three words would you get rid of? Could you get rid of for 2026? Using the word sorry,
mm.
using
Goodbye.
the word just. Well, I just became an international best-selling author. Oh no, that just was years of work and sweat. So just is diminutive
Mhm.
of the real work. Sorry, just, and what was the other one? Oh, shoot, I can't think of it right now. If somebody's seen the poll, sorry, just, I don't even remember what
That
it
means
is.
it's gone from the
It's
vocabulary. It's
already
gone.
gone. Well, these
Gone.
are gone from my vocabulary. They are. They are. Okay, so let's talk about your approach. And we don't need to spend a lot of time on this, I
Okay.
think, but you're saying to adopt a simple and clear approach to boundaries. So talk to us about that, please.
Yeah, of course. So when I set boundaries, I really think about how I'm going to feel or how I feel. That is just a key piece. And if I'm going to feel some kind of resentment, then it's an opportunity to look at what I did before I felt that resentment. And that's a great place to start. It's a really simple approach in the sense that, well, if you spend some time connecting with yourself, they tell us journal and reflect. Definitely, that is good information for you and how you want to live your life going forward.
This is so interesting. And I love this approach. So I want to ask you, how many times did you grapple with after you realized that you no longer, it wasn't in your best interest to take people out just to pay for them to eat if there isn't some kind of in-depth dialogue or conversation. Once you realized it, how many times did you break your own boundary before it stuck? Or was that the only time? Sorry.
I have to laugh because you want me to count that? It's insurmountable. It's like the awareness is definitely a key piece, but it is just the beginning. I don't know how many times I've just ignored how I really felt, even though I recognized it. It still happened. And then when I thought it was over, I thought, well, there's a good reason why I'm ignoring this boundary. Maybe it'll be different this time because it's a different person in a different state and a whole new atmosphere. And so it was still the same.
And
So
that brings up the resentment, because when we were
mhm,
talking, Lee and I had a great talk. I always talk with the guest teachers in advance to kind of figure out, they are their brand. What are their teaching pieces? What are their concepts? What are their evolved perspectives on all that we're teaching and talking about? We're all doing the same thing,
mhm,
right? But we're at different levels of awareness and study.
yeah,
And the unique thing is that with every new bit of information, our perspective changes and we grow,
yeah.
don't we? Right. So one of the things that came up was this business of resentment. And
Mhm,
it reminds me of Carl Sandburg's poem, Fog. And he says, the fog creeps in on little cat feet. So, when you first get a kitty or there's a brand new kitty, they can bump up against your foot or your shoe and you barely notice it.
mhm,
Like you know they're there, but you didn't feel anything. And that is how resentment grows. The more times that we do this, the more times that cat grows and rubs harder. So the best bit is, did you finally go on a date with someone who fit into your boundary?
yeah, I actually did. Yeah, so it's really super important to bring that up and then stick with it. And I think that one of the things that I realized that I was doing, because I like to take responsibility for my boundaries, because all I can do is control myself. And
That's
so
right.
when I hear them, when I say it first, like, hey, look, I'm on a budget. I'm really mindful about the money that I'm spending. I really like to hang out with you, but I'd like to maybe go to a coffee shop instead of dinner. And they were like, yeah,
Well, that's a really good first date, because
yeah.
I will tell you, it's safer if you're going out on a first date. The rule is, my rule is, no dinner, right? It's
Mhm.
lunch or coffee.
There you
And
go.
then and that way you can end it when you want if it doesn't work, and it's always very frugal. But honestly, if you're on a date that you're really not having a good time at and it's dinner, it can
Yeah.
drag on, and I
Mhm.
mean, so
It could
anyway.
be like suffering, suffocation kind of feeling. So, yeah, I just found that if I share what my boundaries are, then I don't really have to break it down and say, "No dinner," and doesn't mean have to be that expensive. I just need to say, "This is what I'd like to do," and see how they
Right.
respond to that.
Well,
And
your
many people respond favorably to it.
your boundary is that first dates, here's how it goes. First
Yeah,
dates are coffee or lunch,
exactly.
period.
Yeah.
Right, and that way another person isn't expecting you. That's really a good point, how simple it seems, which
Mhm.
is what you're saying, adopt a simple and clear approach. But
Mhm.
notice how many times it took you to finally get to that. And I wanna say hello to
Yeah.
Sajid Kumar. Sajid Kumar is here, he's a recruiter in Canada, and he has thanked us for having such wonderful shows this year and wonderful guests, and you inspired him. Joni Hargrave is here.
Nice.
Um, I would say but is another word. I didn't put that in the poll, but I do in every case. I avoid the word but. I use and.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
use and, because you know the old rule. But we're so used to saying sorry and but, and I just did this, we really diminish ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So now we understand, right? Now, so you really explained to us how you identified that boundary. So how do we identify a boundary that's missing, that perhaps has been building that resentment, where we're not feeling good about what we're compromising with or what we're giving up? So how would you tell us all to identify that? What would we be looking for, Lee?
Let's see. I think about boundaries as in, like, I'm really just focused as much as possible on me and my feelings and how I interact with the world and what happens as a result of my interaction with the world. Like, how do I feel after I do this? And so back to this point where you're really focusing on your feelings. So let's say someone asked you to spend extra time with them that you don't have. Maybe they want you to take them to the airport at 4 a.m. and you just can't do it. You just
Right.
can't do it. And you're feeling resentment because you actually did it. You say you can't do it, but you actually did it because you thought about them and how they needed to get to the airport and their needs above your needs. And identifying when those situations happen is a really great start. So our past is really a great opportunity to understand more about how we want to move forward. Like, what is a boundary that had been crossed? I think of it as like an electric fence, or not electric fence, but an invisible fence. And if you go out of such a bound, your emotions are going to zap you. You're going to
Right,
feel that.
right,
You're going to
right,
feel
right,
that. And
right, right,
in some way, shape, or form, you're going to be like, oh man, you start complaining.
right, right, right,
You
right.
start breathing hard. You're just frustrated with the situation. That's a really great indication that a boundary has been crossed. And so right there, that
So
indicates,
let me
what do you
throw
do?
this. Okay,
Sure.
so that's perfect. The your response or reaction, and I wanted to take a moment to distinguish feelings and emotions, because they're not the same. Because when you're triggered from fears or past experience, that's an emotion, right? Which is a low vibration. But when you feel good about a date that you went on or how everything went, that's a very high vibration. But it does boil down to the physical reaction you have from the experience.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a boundary that's missing right now, that you've heard what Lee said, that maybe right in this moment you realize, oh, this is a place where I can put in a boundary, so to protect my peace, right?
Hmm.
Isn't that what it's all about? is
Absolutely.
is protecting your peace. And let me also say hello to the Wall of Wealth lady, Leah Garcia. Hi, Leah. Leah has a show at 1 o'clock at Eastern on Wednesdays, the Wall of Wealth, and she does all sorts of wonderful ad hoc lives here and there. She's just amazing. Thank you for being here. And let me make sure I didn't miss. Okay, so Roland asked, what would you say now in the same? Well, I don't know. That may be a little out of context. So Roland, rework that question for me, because we may have passed it, but I would like to address it with Coach Lee.
Okay.
Okay, so the first step is how are you feeling when a boundary, whether it's said or not, right?
Yes.
It's a personal boundary. How does that make you feel? And
Right.
that's the first step,
Right.
right?
And I'd like to just expand on that just a little bit.
Please,
I talk
please.
about creating things for analytical minds, and I always have to categorize things. I really need to. And you made a great point about feelings and feeling good
Emotion.
and feeling bad,
Mhm,
emotions.
mhm, mhm.
And what I do is really capture those. So boundaries are not about saying no. It's not just about saying no. We're really sensitive to recognizing the negative feelings, perhaps. And so what I do with these boundaries is I categorize them. Boundaries are essentially when you feel something. And I categorize them. I have 3 categories for them. They are your needs. So that's an experience that you had and you feel good about that. That's something that you want to continue to have. Your negotiables, these are experiences that didn't really strike you strongly. It's okay, but you're not going to fight for it. It's not a big deal. If it happens again, great. If it doesn't, eh. Then the third one is nevers, your needs, negotiables, and nevers. These are experiences you desire not to have. You don't want to feel this way. And so when you have those boundaries, when you figure out, oh, this is how I feel in this situation, I like it, a need.
Excellent.
It's something that you never want to have again, or you don't like, it's a never. A lot of people try to stuff those boundaries into negotiables. I'm not sure. It's okay. What about them?
Yeah.
But we need those strong needs and negotiables.
Absolutely.
And understanding that really helps you set these boundaries, or how you're going to behave when you are in those situations again.
So Adrian has a good question here. How would you respond if the other person that you were working with got belligerent if you didn't give in, if they accused you of being mean or not a real friend?
Man, this is a really great question, Adrian. I appreciate you asking. I was coming from the point of me again. Do I like that feeling and experience of, first of all, being ignored because I had said this is what my need is? My need is to sleep. I can't take you to the airport. Sorry. Oh, but then also I get another experience of you telling me I'm a bad person. I don't want that again. Ooh.
So what would you do? I think that's what she's asking.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So go ahead.
What would I do? I would say, I would create some space. Then I would say, listen, I don't like to be treated this way. And I'm not going to talk to you more about this, or I'm going to move myself from the space.
Got it. Now let's take a quick break. Okay. Like about a minute. And we're going to bring up our sponsor. Okay. So I want you to know all about Power Thinking Corporation and the wonderful Stanley Green. Now you should know that not only does Power Thinking occur by live on 5 platforms, on LinkedIn, it's so accessible by telephone. But now this Fearless You app allows you to do everything: chat, come into this show, and participate in everything Power Thinking has to offer. Right now, anyone who goes to the App Store and downloads Power Thinking app, you get 30 days at no charge. And I will tell you, I am just loving it, and it's changing, and it's wonderful for all of us. So it's a complimentary gift from Stanley for 30 days, and you don't pay anything, but you get to see how it works and how you might use it to save time and to have value, right? And save time with your time. So let's go back on now. Thank you, Stanley. And over here, by the way, it's a little small, but this is the menu. So there's notifications, there's chat. Every week he puts in a wonderful video to study. He has a live at 7:30 a.m. and at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Wow. And it's also by phone. So even the boomers and seniors that haven't gotten into this, they don't get left out by Mr. Green. I think that's the most important thing. All right. Let me see if I could get back to you now. All right. So the screen is a little bit different, but okay. So now so let me ask everybody. I would like to bring Coach Lee back in Q1 to get into this again and deeper, because we've got some really good questions. If you're on LinkedIn, give us, or on YouTube, give us an emoji that you would love to have Lee back, because this needs more time. It really does. So tell us briefly, but I want to ask you this question from Sajid Kumar. All coaches recommend networking as an essential skill for career growth. But when you talk about boundaries, especially when time is the biggest constraint, taking your dating example, how do you decide in your boundaries and communicate them? And how soon in the networking process should you start doing it?
Wow, that's quite a question there. Definitely connect with people, but I think leaving people wanting more is not such a bad thing. So if you say, look, I only have 30 minutes for this, or if you're meeting someone in person, you have an hour worth of time, then stick to that hour and make sure you do, because they're going to want to learn more about you. If you give it all away right away, then, they won't have a reason to continue connecting with you. And so I think that people also respect you when you say what you mean and mean what you say. So
Got
you're showing them right away that you're an important person who does exactly that.
Got it. Lovely. And I'd love to, when we come back, I want to have, we'll have lots more questions. Yeah. Okay. Adrian says yes. So you're in if you're willing, if you're okay. So
oh man, don't pressure me with a good time or threaten me with a good time.
So how does it become a habit? How does that boundary, how have you made it a habit?
Making it a habit, it's definitely a mindfulness thing, as you teach here, definitely a mindfulness. So how do I feel about this experience that I'm having? Being able to process that, and then know what your next step is. So it really starts with practice. With practice, it may be really hard to say no to your boss because wow, or maybe hard to say no to your parents because you might feel something, resentment, or you might be afraid of what they might say or how they feel. But it might be easier to start saying yes to yourself in small ways. So it's a mindfulness practice of doing things in a small way.
Yes, and for those of you who know that repetition is the first law of learning, this fits perfectly, and do know that habit is the step before faith, because habits can be broken. Faith takes a little bit longer, where it's untouchable. So it's got to be done consistently, right? In spaced intervals over time. You don't just do it once a week or once a month, right? So awesome. All right, so we're getting a little low on time. That's why I know I'm happy you're coming back. Tell us how boundaries fit in as a part of your umbrella patterns of possibility, please.
So what I share with my clients in the patterns of possibility is definitely about the pattern. So it's the habits and the recognition of who you are and how you show up in the world. So when I say boundaries, I really do mean that boundaries are the shape of you, and it is how you show up. It is continuously doing that. So when my clients come to me and they're struggling with figuring out what to do in conversations, they're usually thinking about what the other person wants from them. But instead, I want them to focus on their boundaries and who they are and how they express themselves without considering that other person first. And so that's how it really helps. It'll help guide your conversation. So what do you want to say? Not what do I think they want me to say?
I love it. I love it.
It's easier to connect.
You know, this reminds me of Covey's circle of influence and circle of concern. Basically, you've talked about it in that focus on the things over which you have control, which is what you think, that's it. But what other people are thinking and what other people are voting for and doing, you have no control over. And so I imagine there'd be a lot of resentment and frustration if you were trying to control other people.
Absolutely. I've built that up for so many years, and we see it in everywhere.
Yeah, we do. We do. All right. Well, Lee, this has been so super wonderful. I'm excited to have you back. And I want everybody to connect with Lee, certainly follow. And this is his Coach Lee Hopkins, easy enough on LinkedIn to find Lee. And then go to his website. It's easy to find, patternsofpossibility.com. And if you /events, you'll see he has a whole host of very interesting events. And that's where the doctor who is here today.
Yeah, I actually have open coaching that's available. So if you have questions and you just want to talk about what's going on with you, we'll talk through those It happens on the Saturdays, every Saturday of the month at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we also have a structured social hour where you come and you talk to other people about your experiences. And
Oh,
finally, the CEO's networking meets on the first Thursdays. That's where Dr. Donna and I connect. That's where Dr. Donna gave her fantastic presentation.
so would you do something when we're done here? Please go back and answer the questions in the comments because there's quite a few questions. But
Okay.
note in there with your website that schedule, just a few things like on Saturdays at a certain time you have where you can ask a question. And so, Coach Lee, one last thing from you before we go. What would you send everyone off with this week of holidays and family and friends in terms of checking our own patterns and our own emotions? What would you send us all off with, please?
Just remember that you are amazing and people really want to know, especially those who love you, want to know what you really think and how you really feel. And so if you feel like you're hiding from them, you don't have to. You can share and be open and honest. So you're awesome. You're amazing.
I just love that. I'm in deep gratitude for your being here. I'm so glad that we had our long conversation on Saturday. And I don't know how that happened, but it is one of my slides. I don't know. I must have leaned into something on the keyboard, but I'm going to move you back in the studio with thanks for being here and spending your time, and want you back Q1 of 2026, please. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Well, I'm here. I'm still here. So this is an auspicious week. When you go out there, look for the good in people. You'll find it every time. It's there. It has to be. And if you find something good in people, it expands your own goodness and greatness. So it grows in direct proportion to its use. Its use is you're looking for the good in others. And this will create new neural pathways for you. It will create a habit, and eventually it will become perfect faith in your ability and your deservability. And with that, we are going to close out. I will be here Friday with a special training on our self-esteem and identity is a cybernetic system. It's like a furnace. For those of you who know about furnaces, you'll enjoy this very much. And with that, everyone have a wonderful holiday, whichever one it is that you're expressing. And I do know that Hanukkah is complete now. We love you all. Come back, get to know each other. And I'll see you Friday. And next Monday, Sean Michael will be here.